Okay, so tonight we're going to be looking at a text editor called Atom, Atom, and they deem themselves as being a hackable text editor for the 21st century. It is a text editor is a text editor. On the surface, it's pretty boring. I'll admit it. Not all that exciting. But what I do like about Atom, and what I like about a good text editor like Genie or something like that, is that it provides syntax highlighting.
Okay.
So no matter what language you're coding in, you're going to be able to see if you've entered a syntax error. Today I was programming in Atom, for example, and I was doing a prepared statement for my SQLi in PHP, and it just slipped my mind, and I hadn't assigned the value to a string, and I was trying to inject the string directly in the prepared statement in the params. So you can't do that. You've got to assign the value to a string, and then you can include it in the prepared statement.
Right.
So the editor, Atom, actually told me that before I even uploaded the mistake and got a syntax error on Apache. So I could see visually through the syntax highlighter that, hey, I did something wrong here. I'm not quite sure what I did. And then I realized, oh, yeah, I put 43 there. I needed to put that in a string and then call it in the prepared statement. So all that to say, syntax highlighting can really help you as you're coding because it colorizes and makes things easier for you to visually see if you mess up. In addition to that, things like matching brackets when you highlight a bracket.
I always miss a bracket somewhere. Always.
And it helps to be able to find the bracket. If I click on, and I'll show you this in a couple moments when we install this, when I talk about matching brackets, say you're creating a function in PHP, and that's my core language, so that's what I'm going to be coding in most of the time. If you create an opening brace, for example, for the function, and then you create the closing brace, and then you create all your function in between, and then you forget where your closing brace is, you click on the opening brace, and it will highlight the closing brace. So that you can visually see, oh, there's the closing brace for this function, not the next one down. And it really, really helps. So we're going to jump over to Ubuntu Mate. I've got it installed here in a virtual machine, and we're just going to get started with installing the Atom editor. Now, I'm using 16.04, and I was surprised to find that Atom is not, in fact, available in the repositories for 16.04, but it is available in 16.10. So if you go into the software boutique and you try to find it, you're actually not going to find it anywhere in there. And even through I installed Synaptic Package Manager because I really don't like using these, the software boutique in Ubuntu. I'm not into that. So what I would do, if you are not into that at all, just like me, not to digress, but just to give you a little bit of help, first of all, I'm going to go sudo su to become root. Then I don't have to type sudo, which is really, one of those things in Ubuntu that, I'm more of a Debian baby, so I prefer to do it this way. So I could go apt-get update and run that command, and then apt-get install Synaptic. And that will give me Synaptic Package Manager. So now I don't have to use the software boutique. I can actually use Synaptic Package Manager, which is, especially on 16.04, which is the LTS of Ubuntu Mate, you're going to find that's a lot easier to find packages because it's got the search functionality. In Ubuntu Mate 16.10, we start to see the boutique improved, but I still prefer Synaptic Package Manager. So that's not to digress, but Atom is not available. On your system, you may be able to simply install it like that. apt-get install Atom or whatever repository management system you're using, whether you're using Yum on your system or however you do it. So in our case, we're going to have to get it off of their website, which fortunately they make very, very easy. So we're going to head on over to their website. It's atom.io. My nose is stuffy, so every time I say atom, it sounds like I'm saying atom. I know that. So just keep that in mind. We're talking atoms here, like the atomic scale, all right? Let's get in there. Okay, over here, we see that there is a deb and RPM package ready for us. It's automatically detected that I'm on Linux. If you are on Windows, if you're on Mac OS X, it's going to auto-detect that as well and give you the installers for that. So even though I'm doing this on Linux, on a Debian-based system, this is Ubuntu Mate, you're going to be able to do this on Windows, on Mac. It doesn't matter what platform you're on. And, of course, it's compatible with any Linux system as well. If you'd like to find out more information about it, there's a cute little commercial about the software itself. But again, it's just a text editor. I mean, we'll call it just a text editor. Let's download that deb package. You can click on other platforms if you're not seeing the one that if it's not giving you the right one, and that's where you'll find the Windows download, the Mac download, all of them in one single place. Okay, so oh, there it is. So there they are. See that? So Mac, Windows, you've got all of them all in one place here. Okay, so you can download the Windows version if you need to. Being on Linux, on a Debian-based Linux, I'm going to download the deb pack. So we're going to save that.
Now, for anybody who's not familiar but they want to get into this, what's the difference between the .deb and the .rpm?
.deb is for Debian-based Linux operating systems. .rpm is for Red Hat-based operating systems. So
there you go.
Two different flavors of Linux, different package management utilities, and a different way of distributing packages. So you just need to know which one is going to be compatible with your system. That's all. And if you're not sure, just find out which operating system yours is based on. Firefox places your downloads up in this kind of guy up here. So when I click on the arrow, I can then click on the folder to bring me to the folder that contains all my downloads. Usually that's in your home folder. There is a folder called Downloads. So that's where you'll find it. Okay. Let's see where it's gone. There it is. Okay, so you can see I already downloaded it a little bit earlier. I did that just in case we had any internet troubles tonight. So now in Linux, I can do this one of two ways. First of all, I can right-click on it and open it with my package installer. That's the way that we're going to do it tonight. Alternatively, if you want to use the terminal, or maybe if you're not finding a package installer, you can also use dpkg. So to do that, and I'm just going to show you cd / that's your home folder. So if I hit enter on that, it's going to take me into home. But now I'm going to go into my downloads folder, and if I do an ls, you'll see there's the file. So I can go dpkg-i atom amd64.deb, and that's going to actually install that in Debian using dpkg. So I can do that in the terminal as well. We're going to use the GUI this time, though. So let's right-click on it, open it with our GDebi package manager. And remember that this step may be entirely unneeded for you, because you may find if you're using 16.10 onwards, or if you're on Debian, I also found it in the repositories on Debian 8, so you may be able to install this directly using Synaptic Package Manager or whatever your favorite package manager is. We're having to download the Debian pack, and then we can install it that way. Okay, here we go. It's just loading up and figuring out what the dependencies are. It says that it's going to install 3 different packages. We can kind of click around and find out what it includes if we want to. We don't need to do that. Let's click on details. We'll see that it's going to also install git, gitman, liberror, perl. It's not going to remove anything, so we're happy. Install the packages, the package itself. I'm going to minimize. Oh, it's asking for a password. Here we go. This is your super user password. Root password. And there it goes. So nice and easy to install. Again, just a text editor. How boring is that?
Super. But very cool.
I'm a coder, so I like good text editors.
Absolutely.
I'd love to know what language you're coding in. Primarily, and you're going to see this, I program in PHP all the time, and I just use a text editor to do that. I do a lot of PHP. Obviously, some CSS on top of that, some JS as well. You'll find that you'll see a lot of text, like just plain text as well. That's just like config files or whatever. So we're going to look at that. So because of the way that Atom can be integrated with a service called CodeStats, we're going to be able to turn this into more than just a text editor. We're going to be able to make it so that through CodeStats we can track not individual code. It's not monitoring or logging our keystrokes in that way, but it logs points It has a point system that is now going to turn your coding into a bit of a video game for you. So it makes it a little bit more fun. Add some incentive as you're coding to try to code a little bit more than the next guy. Right?
Fun.
Like you to get this installed. Let's distribute our code stats links and compare who's doing the most coding, and we'll battle it out. So this is just installing from that deb pack. Here we go. And you're going to see how CodeStats is going to take this text editor and make it into something a little bit more fun. Not that that's a feature of it. I think it's important to note that because this is a hackable text editor, and what that means is it's extendable, so people can add packages to it, plugins and themes and all that kind of stuff. So you can tweak it to do some extra things that a text editor can't normally do. So that's how we're able to implement something like CodeStats, which is just going to make it a lot of fun. Okay, installation finished. There we go. Atom AMD64.deb was installed. All right, let's close out of that. Let's go into programming in our applications menu if everything went to where I suspect it's going to have gone. There we go. Okay, so we're in Atom. Okay, what can we do? We can install a package, we can open a project, we can create new files. Of course, being a text editor, what does it look like? Well, just like that. So, hello world. Okay, nice and easy peasy. You can close all the tabs that it opens up. You can set it so that it doesn't open those up at program launch. You can play around with all your settings and figure out how everything works. We're not going to get too detailed into all the different settings and things that are available. We'll get into some fun stuff. So let's jump over to CodeStats. Let's see if we can get there now. Codestats.net. And I'm going to do this on the hypervisor here so that we have a little bit more resources available to us. So CodeStats is pretty cool. It's a free service that allows you to basically, well, there you go, write code, level up, show off. It's a free stats tracking service for programmers, and it feels like this is like the Fitbit of programming. It tracks everything that you do, and in a completely like, it's not sharing my code, it's not taking my code, it's just keeping track of how much I code, and then gives me points based on that. So I can actually bring up my own profile, and we'll see that in a couple of moments' time. But first of all, let's get logged into to CodeStats here. I'm going to jump over to another system so that I can grab my my password, which is super secure. So let's bring her in. So my user profile is called Bald Nerd. And I'm going to log in.
Uh-oh.
Bald Nerd.
There we go.
Case-sensitive usernames. Okay, so there's my profile. So if you go to codestats.net/users/baldnerd, and as we determined just now, it's case-sensitive. You can see my stats for today, and so the orange is today, and the green is previous day. So you can see that I am currently level 2 on PHP, level 1 on JavaScript. You always start at level 0. CSS, I'm still at 0. Shell scripts, I'm at level 1. So I've leveled up a couple of times there, and I've been programming on their system just since December 13th. So, hey, game on. Game on. How do we do this? How do we make it so that we can actually start tracking our stats? It's surprisingly easy now that we have our Atom editor installed. So we're going to go to Machines once you've created and logged into your CodeStats account. And down here, we're going to create a new machine. So this is going to be called Slow Virtual Machine. And we're going to add that machine, and that's going to give us an API code for that machine. So we're just going to copy that to our clipboard. Okay, and then jump back to that machine, and in Atom, we're going to hit Control, comma, and that's going to bring up our settings window. And in the settings window, you're going to see packages at the left-hand side here, so let's head on over there.
Right, okay.
Haven't installed it yet, so we're going to jump over to install. My mistake. We're not going to go into packages.
Right.
Yeah, oh, did he say that?
Just
Garby,
said it.
Way to go.
Yeah.
Who said it first, me or Garby?
It was Garby by a...
Was it Garby? Oh, Garby, you're winning. You're winning by a point. All right, so in install, let's try it again here. Code-stats-atom. Enter. Now it's searching. Thank you very much, Garby. There it is. Okay, so let's install that. There we go. Okay, so now that CodeStats-Atom is in, we're going to hit Settings. Don't worry, you only have to do this once. Look, it's looking for an API key. All right, so I'm going to jump back there. I want to just make sure that I've got that API key in my clipboard. Go to my machines, jump to the slow virtual machine, grab just the key itself with no additional spaces or anything like that. There it is in my clipboard, and we're going to add that to the system. No, it doesn't copy from virtual machine. No. Let's see if we can turn on clipboard sharing. Dun, 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 dun. Let's just go bi-directional. What are you giggling about over there?
I am loving Garby in this.
Yeah? He's like, oh, you guys are
Make
so
sure shared
lame.
clipboard is on.
Oh, yeah? Okay. Once again, who was first?
It was Garby.
No! Come on! 2 points for Garby. Come on now.
It's the Garby show today.
Yeah, this is kind of the Garby show. Make sure shared clipboard is on. Maybe I'll do that, Garby. Thank you for your interaction. I appreciate that. Okay, so with shared clipboard on, you jerk. It works. Okay, so there we go. There's no save button or anything like that. There's nothing else I need to do. It's done. I can close that. And there we go. So now CodeStats is indeed tracking my slow virtual machine, but it's not showing there yet because I haven't actually coded anything. So let's get coding. What do you want to do? Let's create a PHP file. So we're going to basically tell the system that this is a PHP file by saving it as a PHP file. Let's just throw that onto our desktop, and we'll call this test.php. And let's do what we said we were going to do. Oh. Hello equals hello. I know, this is incredibly lame. And we'll go, we want to just echo it?
Just for
Sure.
the record, I actually, like, this is my level. This is actually just a little bit above my level. When you're like, this is incredibly lame, I'm like, wait, hello?
We created, all right, so we created a string. It's not a
Yeah,
PHP
this is
tutorial, nor should this be considered one. Okay, we're going to say hello. Dot world. And add a comment by Robbie. I'm not sure if there's a underscore in UC first or not. Is there? Does syntax highlighting tell me? Oh, US first. UC first.
Oh, look at that. Popped up.
UC first. No, there's definitely not. I love how PHP throws you for a loop sometimes with that. So now that I've done some stuff there, at least I've got a PHP file going, and you see my slow virtual machine has now gained me 64 points. Oh, 131! Yeah! Beat that, Garby! There you go. So now I'm climbing now. So I'm on my way to a level 4 as far as my points goes. So you know what? It's a lot of fun. It's a text editor, but with that addition of CodeStats, we've got a little bit of competition going on. A lot of fun to be able to track your progress and do it that way. So that's something interesting that you can do with Atom. But looking at the editor itself, so let's get a look at it. We've got some cool features, like you see how when I do echo UC first, which is uppercase first letter, and I hit bracket, it creates a closing bracket. Okay?
Okay.
So then I can start going hello. And then when I click on when I'm currently cursored on that closing bracket, notice how it has put an underline on my opening bracket, so that I can see that that's the bracket that is part of that. So if I'm creating a function, as I was mentioning before, and notice it did some kind of auto complete there. So now I have 2 closing brackets. Whoops, because I had closed it myself. So you need to watch out for that kind of thing, and that's why I don't like automation when it comes to closing brackets and stuff. And let's go, whatever. right? So we can create a function out of it. But then when I click on that, when I cursor over that closing bracket, that closing brace, I can see the opening brace up here is underlined.
Right.
So let's look at how we can kind of change that behavior. Let's again hit Control comma to go into our settings, and then we can go into core. And oh no, you know what? I'm going to go into packages here, and we're going to do a search for bracket. And you see the bracket matcher there. Let's go into settings. And we can change the behavior so that it doesn't auto-complete everything. Like if we wanted to stop auto-completing brackets, I can actually turn off that feature while still leaving the highlighting in place. Autocomplete smart quotes, which can be equally annoying to me. So that's where if I add a quotation, it will add a closing quotation. Wrap selection in brackets. You know, you might leave that on or turn it off depending on your preference. But it allows you to customize it quite well. And then we can add plugins to change the way that the brackets look, the way that the theme looks, if you want to change the theme. What other text editor gives you this kind of customizability? So if I want to change, say I want to go to the base 16 Tomorrow Dark highlighting. So that's now changed the highlighting colors of my text editor in Atom. So that looks pretty sleek. And you can actually install and download more themes and all kinds of things. So let's do a search for bracket, for example. And you're going to find, and this is really, I mean, this is a very, very basic tutorial. You'll find this as a hackable text editor. There's so much stuff that you can do to customize Atom and make it the way that you want it to be. Let's find one that, okay, here's one that animates the bracket highlighting. This one provides an obnoxiously fancy animated bracket matcher. That sounds fun. So I'm going to throw that on there, and I can always disable it. I can always re-enable it or change the settings however I want to do it. So that one's going to actually require that we still have our bracket matcher enabled, the plugin that we were just configuring, but it's going to change the functionality of it, change the skin, the style of it.
So even if you didn't find a package or feature that you like, you could write one and install it.
Sure, if you know the, I'm not. This is Node.js, I believe. So if you know how to code for it, then yeah, absolutely. And that's part of the idea. That's part of the brilliance of Atom, is that they've built it so that it is something that you can add features to, and something that all these folks have added features to, and they've made it so that it's easily accessible through their own kind of installation process. So now that I've installed that, you'll see how the brackets have changed. Now it's no longer an underline; it's this highlighted thing.
Oh, okay.
Right? So that stands out very, very well for me. I like that.
I do too.
I don't find that obnoxiously annoying at all. I find that's kind of nice. So that's Atom in a nutshell as far as getting it installed, getting it up and going. It is a text editor. It's got syntax highlighting for all your popular languages, and it's going to probably function very, very well for you. Give it a try, see what you think. Some folks are like, oh, it's Node.js, I'm not into that. I'm like, it works great. You know, it runs on Windows, Linux, and Mac. So I'm happy. It runs well. Even on my dreadful virtual machine, it performs quite well. And I love that you can add things like code stats. Check them out, codestats.net, and get yourself signed up and add your computer to Atom. And then once you have, get into our community. Send us an email if you like, live@category5.tv. Tell us what your profile is. I'm Bald Nerd with capital B, capital N, and you can kind of compete with me throughout the week and see how each of us does. I think we'll have a lot of fun with that. All right, that's Atom from atom.io. Check it out.
Exciting.
Text editor. But hey, I'll give it that.